You can spend 6 hours studying and still forget most of what you learned by the time you actually need it, because reading something over and over isn't the same as putting it into memory. Think about it. You finish an entire chapter, everything looks familiar, you feel like you understand it. Then the next morning you close the book and try to explain it. Nothing. But what if you could study in a way that makes your brain actively build the memory instead of temporarily recognizing the information? In this video, I'll show you a simple system called PACER that turns what you study into something you can actually retrieve when it matters. And by the end, I'll put all 5 stages together into one step-by-step routine you can use in your very next study session. Chapter 1. The problem with studying. Most people think studying works like this. You read the information, you read it again, you highlight it, maybe you rewrite your notes, and eventually, because you've seen the same information enough times, you assume you've learned it. But there's a problem. Seeing information and retrieving information are two completely different experiences. When the textbook is open in front of you, the answer looks familiar. Your brain says, yeah, I know this. But familiarity isn't the same thing as being able to produce the answer yourself. That's why a chapter can feel incredibly easy while you're reading it, and incredibly difficult when the book disappears. So instead of asking, how many times did I read this? You need to start asking, how many times did I make my brain retrieve this? Because research on learning consistently points toward retrieval practice and spaced practice as powerful ways to improve long-term retention. And that's exactly what we're going to build. Chapter 2. The PACER system. The system has 5 stages: P, Procedural; A, Analogical; C, Conceptual; E, Evidence; R, Retrieval. Think of these as 5 different jobs your brain needs to perform. First, you use the information, then you connect it, then you organize it, then you support it with details, and finally, you retrieve it repeatedly over time. Let's break them down. Chapter 3. P, Procedural. The first stage is procedural. This means turning information into something you can do. And this is where studying changes completely. Let's say you're studying physics. You read a page explaining Newton's second law. Force equals mass multiplied by acceleration. You could read that sentence 5 times. You could underline it. You could write it in your notebook. Or you could close the book and solve a problem using it. That's procedural learning. You're forcing your brain to take the information and actually operate with it. The same principle works outside of mathematics. If you're studying biology, don't just read how a process works. Try explaining the process step by step. If you're learning programming, don't just watch someone write the code. Write it yourself. If you're studying history, don't just memorize what happened. Try reconstructing the sequence of events without looking. The goal is simple. Don't just consume the information. Use it. And there's an important reason for this. When you attempt to retrieve something shortly after learning it, that retrieval attempt can strengthen your ability to retrieve it again later. So after learning something new, don't immediately turn the page. Make your brain do something with it. Chapter 4. A, Analogical. Now we move to A, Analogical. This stage is about connecting new information to something you already understand, because completely unfamiliar information has nowhere to attach itself. Imagine someone tells you, a neuron transmits electrical signals through the nervous system. You can memorize that sentence, but what if you imagine the nervous system as a giant communication network? Neurons become the wires, signals become the messages, and different parts of the nervous system become different communication routes. Suddenly, the abstract idea has somewhere to live in your mind. That's the power of an analogy. But there's a catch. An analogy is a tool for understanding, not a replacement for reality. Your analogy doesn't have to match every detail. In fact, it shouldn't. Its job is to give you a familiar mental structure that helps you understand the unfamiliar concept. So whenever you learn something difficult, ask, what does this remind me of? What do I already understand that behaves somewhat like this? And then explain the connection in your own words. The more meaningful connections you create, the less isolated the new information becomes. Chapter 5. C. Conceptual. Now you've used the information. You've connected it to something familiar. The next step is to understand the structure. That's C. Conceptual. This is where you stop looking at information as a collection of random facts. Instead, you ask, how do these ideas fit together? Take a chapter on the human circulatory system. You don't want to remember 20 disconnected facts. You want to understand the system. Heart to pumps blood. Blood vessels transport it. Lungs exchange gases. Blood carries oxygen and nutrients. Now, the individual facts have relationships, and relationships are powerful because one idea can help you retrieve another. A simple way to do this is with a mind map. Put the main concept in the center, then branch into the major ideas. Then branch those ideas into smaller components. Don't try to make it beautiful. You're not designing a post, you're building a map of the knowledge inside your head. And once you can see the structure, complicated chapters become much easier to navigate. Chapter 6. E. Evidence. Now comes E. Evidence. This is where you collect the details that support the bigger ideas. Definitions, formulas, examples, dates, exceptions, names, specific facts. This is where flashcards and concise notes become useful. But notice the order. We're not starting with 50 flashcards before understanding the chapter. We're building the structure first, then we're attaching the details to it. For example, you understand the concept of acceleration. Now you add the formula. You understand what the variables represent, then you practice using it. You understand the biological process. Now you memorize the specific terminology. The important distinction is, don't memorize details that have nowhere to go. Give them a place inside the larger concept. That way, when you remember the concept, it can help pull the smaller details back with it. Chapter 7. R. Retrieval. Now we reach the most important stage. R. Retrieval. This is where you stop studying the information and start trying to pull it out of your brain. Close the book, hide the notes, take away the answer, and ask yourself, what do I remember? Then write it down, or explain it out loud, or answer questions, or use flashcards. The crucial part is that you're attempting to produce the answer before looking at it. And here's where studying can start to feel strangely difficult. You might think, I'm terrible at this, I can't remember anything. But that struggle is exactly what makes retrieval practice useful. You're no longer just recognizing information sitting on the page. You're practicing the actual skill you need during the exam, finding the information when the page isn't there. And when you get something wrong, don't simply move on. Check the answer, correct yourself, then try retrieving it again. That combination of retrieval and feedback is far more useful than repeatedly staring at the same answer. Chapter 8. Don't stop after one session. There's one final piece. You can understand a chapter today and still forget parts of it later. That's normal. Memory changes over time. So instead of trying to force everything into your brain in one enormous session, you return to it. That's spacing. For example, learn it today, retrieve it tomorrow. Retrieve it again a few days later, then again the following week. The exact schedule doesn't have to be perfect. What matters is that you're not cramming all your retrieval into one sitting. Research on spacing and retrieval shows that distributing practice over time can improve retention. And successive relearning combines these ideas by having learners retrieve material successfully across multiple spaced sessions. And this changes the goal of studying. You're no longer trying to finish a chapter. You're trying to make the chapter survive repeated retrieval. Chapter 9. The Complete Pacer Routine. Now let's put everything together because knowing 5 techniques is useless if you don't know when to use them. So here's what a pacer study session can actually look like. Step 1. Understand. Read a small section. Don't rush. Figure out what it's actually saying. Step 2. Procedural. Put the information to work. Solve a problem. Explain a process. Answer a question. Use what you just learned. Step 3. Analogical. Ask, what does this remind me of? Create a simple connection to something you already understand. Step 4. Conceptual. Build the structure. Create a quick mind map. Identify the main idea, supporting ideas, and relationships between them. Step 5. Evidence. Attach the important details, formulas, definitions, examples, exceptions, specific facts. Step 6. Retrieve. Close everything. Now reconstruct the information from memory. Don't look at the answer until you've made an honest attempt. Step 7. Space it. Come back later, try to retrieve the same material again, and each time you successfully retrieve it, you're giving your memory another opportunity to strengthen. That's the entire system.